This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Today's case is about a sweet 7-year-old boy who was excited about his science fair. He wore his CIS t-shirt while he stood tall and smiling in front of his tree frog exhibit. As his stepmother watched him walk into his classroom and walk away, that was the last time that anyone has ever seen him again. Kyron Horman was born on September the 9th, 2002 in Portland, Oregon, to Desiree Young and Kane Horman. Desiree and Kane was married just 2 years earlier, but it wasn't exactly a match made in heaven. So the story says that he cheated on her.
Typical.
Yeah, so after he cheated on her, the pair, they decided to this isn't going to work anymore. But she found out she was pregnant.
They wanted to separate, but then that's when the baby came along?
Yes, but they still got divorced. Desiree and Kane shared custody of Kyron, but it wasn't 50-50. The child mostly lived with his mother, but Kane was still very much involved in his son's life. But then in 2004, Desiree suffered from kidney failure, and her condition was so bad that she had to leave her toddler behind and go to Canada to seek treatment. So when Desiree left for Canada, that meant Kane was a full-time dad. So he got full custody of Kyron. Kane moved on with a new lady named Terry. So let me tell you something. Kane and Terry kind of moved kind of quick because time he got divorced from Desiree, he was on to the next lady.
They waste no time.
But some say that was the person he cheated on his wife with.
Typical.
The pair married in April of 2007. The next year, on December the 8th, 2008, Terry gave birth to a baby girl named Kyra. Soon after they wed, Kane gifted her with a cherry red Mustang. When she posted with the caption, "Something shiny for my new driveway." Yes, Kane is all of that in a bag of chips. She would also send pictures of the baby to everyone, including her first husband. But he was okay with it. He was I don't know why you sent me these pictures, but he was didn't say nothing really about it. He was okay, cute baby. But early on, it was evident that Terry wasn't as perfect as she seemed. In 2005, she was arrested for drinking and driving where her son, James, was in the car. He was about 11 at the time, and Terry was charged with a DUI and reckless child endangerment. She pled guilty and ended up taking a driver's course.
That's all?
Yeah.
A driver's course?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know. I disagree, though. I get it if it's just you, but if you have a kid with you, that's a whole nother thing. Not only are you endangering your life, but their life as well.
And also everybody's life that's on the road with you that day.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just believe there should be a harsher punishment. But that's just my opinion.
I can see your opinion. On June the 4th, 2010, 7-year-old Kyron was participating in a science fair at his school, Skyline Elementary. Terry brought him to school shortly after 8 a.m. The pair walked around the science fair looking at exhibits. Terry took a picture of Kyron in front of his project about the red-eyed tree frog. After that, around 9:45, Terry took him to his classroom and then she left. A student reports seeing Kyron near the school's south entrance at 9 a.m. So after the child saw him, that was the last real known sighting of him, and no one ever saw him again. At 3:30, Kane and Terry waited for him at the bus stop, but he never showed. So they got kind of worried, and around 3:45, they called the school and say, "Hey, is Kyron still there? He didn't arrive home." They assumed that he probably just missed the bus,
Right.
I was that kid that missed the bus a lot. But they said he was marked absent today at his homeroom teacher. So after that, the school, Susan Hall, she called 911 and reported Kyron missing. According to the timeline, the automated message went out to Skyland Elementary parents saying Kyron Horman did not arrive at home today. So it seemed like the police spent a lot of time interviewing the Hortmans and the school officials because a missing report wasn't announced until 7 p.m. But out of that, the police searched the school grounds in the tunnels, small spaces, and even the storage. The next morning, another search group, Pacific Northwest Search and Rescue, joined as the news of the missing boy spread. An alert was sent out to the Associated Press, a UK-based missing children organization, set up a website and hotline for information related to Kyron's disappearance. That afternoon, the sheriff department said they weren't treating this as a kidnapping case, but that Kyron was considered an endangered missing person. Both the National Guard and FBI Rapid Response Unit joined the search, but by the time Saturday ended, there was no trace of the boy. By Sunday morning, terrorists began proactive posting Facebook quotes. I ordered over 1,000 flyers. They will be coming to our house. I will let everyone know when they can come and get him. Thank you, everyone, end quote. Terry was given a polygraph exam and was supposed to take a second one on June 19th. By June 25th, Kyron's parents, Desiree and Kane, were making their rounds on morning shows to draw attention to Kyron's case. So this case right here got a national attention immediately.
Good.
That's one thing about this case. I have to say that, like, the school was on it.
The parents.
The parents is on it.
The police.
Yes, they was really searching for him. I have to give a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. While with just the two of them, Kyron's step-parents also remained front and center, with the four of them appearing together at the local news conference and other events. But it wouldn't be long before the united front started to crumble. So that next day on June 26th, the day after Kane and Desiree were seen on the morning show, 2 911 calls were placed from Kane and Terry home. I couldn't get a lot of information because it never said like what happened at that home that day. Although I did figure out several letters that the call actually came from Terry, not Kane. At the time, the sheriff's office obviously didn't want to say much about them, only saying that the first one was quoted a threat and the second one was related to a child custody issue. That night, Kane Horton left the family home with his 19-month-old daughter. So something seriously happened that night.
I don't know what mom, though, would willingly let...
I wouldn't. No. We'll fight. You're not taking my child out of this house.
If you guys watch our YouTube video, she would overpower me easily.
Oh my God, shut up. So this happened on a Saturday. And about Monday, Kane was in the court filing for divorce from Terry. So the court paper basically cited, I feel like you already know what it cited.
Irreconcilable differences?
Yeah, I feel like that's most divorce paperwork would say.
When they don't really want to say what happened.
Yeah.
That's like the default.
Mm-hmm.
If we ever file for a divorce, that's what I'll put.
No, like she hit me. Just play that part out. Take it out. But he didn't just file for divorce. He also filed for a mercy restraining order against Terry. And also he filed for full custody of a daughter.
He has something on her. He knew something. He was scared.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like, it's like, what really happened that day for him to, like...
Take his kid, file for divorce.
And, yeah, he did a lot.
File a restraining order.
Do you think he had, like, she hurt my child? Like, he kind of knew?
He had, like, a suspicion?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. If you're taking those measurements, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for him to do it, he had to say, like, she's an immediate threat to me. Like, I really, like, I don't know.
It's a big red flag.
It's a big red flag.
But did he tell the police what happened?
So we don't know. Like, there's nothing in the paper, like, online saying what he said or did that night. Like, we don't know. Desiree, at first, she was like, I don't think Terry had anything to do with it. But after Kane filed for divorce, Monday, June 26th, Desiree, her husband, Tony, and Kane released a joint statement saying that they all were cooperating with the police but they didn't mention Terry's name. So after that, like the reporters was all over Terry, asking her question like, what's going on? What happened? Why did Kane file for because of your daughter? Why is he asking for divorce? What happened? What happened? But she didn't answer. She was like, everything's good. They're just rumors. She just kept it simple. She should have said, no comment, no comment, no comment.
Suspicious.
Very suspicious.
We made a cousin cry like that one time.
Ooh.
Nancy.
Shout
Shout out to Nancy. But yeah, we would, like, anything she would do, me and my brother would be like, suspicious.
This why she cried?
And yeah, she was a crybaby. It was so easy for you to make her cry.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. And we did it for like 30 minutes and then she broke down. We should have felt bad, but we thought it was funny.
You need to text her and be like, I'm sorry for the trauma I did to you as a kid.
Yeah. She got her vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
A couple times.
So the police, they worked really hard on this case. They spoke to everyone. In the days and weeks leading up to Kyron's disappearance, investigators, they spoke with the landscaper who was working on the Horman home. Now, this is very, very important, guys. So when they spoke to the landscaper, he said that Terry tried to hire him to kill Kane.
Oh.
According to the landscaper, Terry offered him a lump sum of money to kill her husband 6 to 7 months before Kyron disappeared. So the police were like, okay, let's try to get this on tape. So they had the landscaper to meet with Terry, but like she shut that down real quick. She like, nope, zip. She didn't say nothing. But Terry did have her side of the story to that, which I'll go into later. But as July 2010 rolls along, things just started looking worse and worse for Terry. With her legal troubles and the pending divorce, people stopped looking at her as a grieving parent and started looking at her as a main suspect in Kyron's disappearance. While police didn't formally name Terry as a suspect or even as a person of interest, they did start digging into her life and whereabouts a little bit more. And at this point, at least 2 witnesses come forward and saying that they saw an adult waiting in Terry's truck while Terry was inside the school with Kyron. Police, they started worrying about who was in that truck. But they quickly realized it was Dee Dee. Dee Dee is one of Terry's close friends. While she claimed she was on a garden trip that morning, her employee said that they was not able to reach her for a couple of hours.
Oh.
Just gardener. Seems so.
I personally, I would never hire anybody to get rid of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But if I did, I wouldn't go to a gardener or a landscaper.
Me either. I wouldn't hire nobody out. It's too messy.
Yeah.
They gonna snitch on you like in 5 minutes, like she did it.
I don't get how she linked gardening to like getting rid of somebody.
Depends on how he looks. Like, oh, he looked like he probably killed somebody.
Okay.
Desiree and Kane immediately went public with their belief that Dee Dee, she knew what happened to Kyron that day, releasing a statement that said, part, quote, she has not only been in close communication with Terry, but has been providing Terry with support and advice. That is not in the best interest of our son. And there is no arguing that these women were close. Dee Dee moved in with Terry after Kane filed for divorce and took their daughter. So if she was a person, well, they said it was her. She stayed in that truck for 45 minutes.
With the AC on?
That was a long time to stay in that car, though. I couldn't do it. I'm not that type of friend. I'm going inside with you.
It was either the gardening or it was helping out a friend. She had a job to do at the end.
She stayed there in the house until a judge ordered Terry to evacuate the home so that Kane and their daughter could move back in. Investigators wanted to know more about Dee Dee, so they searched her condo and her aunt's house, where she has been known to stay, in her place of employment, but nothing came up and things just got crazier. I also turned to a man named Michael Cook, who had been a high school classmate of Kane. In his divorce procedure, Kane alleged that just days after Kyron disappeared, Michael and Terry began having an affair. Not only that, he accused Terry of leaking sensitive information about the investigation to Michael. This was all based on text messages and email that he had found. Basically, This whole time, divorce procedure and missing person was just a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just a lot.
Divorces are pretty messy.
Mm-hmm. Kane even accused Terry of trying to adopt their daughter from the gym daycare.
Terry tried to abduct
their daughter from the daycare.
So he did get full custody.
Mm-hmm. Beside all this, the police, they remained focused on finding Kyron. They were like really searching, running down leads, trying to figure out Terry's whereabouts that day, ground searches, and continue to look for this missing little boy. In early August, a grand jury was convened that Dee Dee reportedly gave several hours of testimony in addition to Desiree, Kane, and Desiree's husband, Tony. But beside all the suspicion and rumors, the grand jury found that there weren't enough investigation to bring anyone to trial.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you know this, or sometime before they will bring someone to trial, they will take them to a grand jury. If the grand jury feel like it's enough evidence to take them to trial, they would do that. Mm-hmm. But here it's like the grand jury like, no, they didn't think it was possible for them to do it.
Okay.
Desiree didn't let this stop her. In 2011, she filed a civil suit against Terry, which accused Terry of kidnapping her son and asked the court to compel her to return him or produce his body. But then she dropped her suit later that summer, as she didn't want it to interfere with the investigation that was going on. But then in 2012, she filed another suit, citing custodial interference. Now, this one led to Dee Dee giving a statement in which she was asked 140 questions by attorneys, but she didn't answer no questions.
She pled the fifth.
She pled the fifth. I mean, over 140 questions. That's just like, dang. What was they asking? Like, I really want to know, like, what was y'all asking her for, like, say, plead the fifth? Plead the fifth. Like, she had, like, he just wrote a sign, like, a big old sign, so I plead the fifth to every question.
Right. I plead the fifth for all.
Because 140 questions?
Or I would have been like, let me speak to my lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Am I being detained? No.
Including whether she met the Horman family or even met Kyron. Desiree gave up sooner or later and dropped the suit in 2013.
She tried.
But she remained frustrated by Terry's continued silence on Kyron's disappearance. Things didn't get better for Terry after Desiree dropped the second suit. Even though the divorce was finalized, their custody battle over their daughter dragged on. In 2014, a judge awarded Kane full custody of their daughter and only allowed Terry visitation under strict supervision. In August of 2004, she applied to change her name to Claire Stella Sullivan. She wanted to escape the stigma of the Horman name, but they denied her, so she couldn't get her name changed. But she was never really a suspect. Like, they never said, hey, we suspect this lady. They never said that. The police never came out. I feel like everyone around the city and people that knew her, they were like, it was her. But they had no evidence that it was her.
Those are my thoughts exactly.
But she tried again to change her name to Claire Kelsa, but she denied again.
Probably because she was under investigation. They didn't allow her to change her name.
No, hold on. She withdrew this time because a Facebook petition against her said, like, signed over 3,000 signatures, said that she could not change her name.
I don't care what Facebook says.
Right. I mean, Jesus.
If I want to change my name, I'm going to change my name.
Because she said that she wanted to change her name because it was so hard for her to get a job. She got a job as a caregiver to adults with mental illness, but she was let go because negativity impacted the employers. So it was like hard for her to really just kind of like move on from this.
Yeah.
If it wasn't her and it was somebody else, that kind of sucked for like all the things that she went through.
Right.
I'm not saying my theories yet, guys. As years went by, Kane and Desiree tried to keep Kyron's name out there in hopes of finding their son. But other than her testimony regarding her name change, Terry, she stayed silent on her stepson's disappearance. Then again in 2016, when she decided to go to Dr. Phil and tell her story, during the interview, Dr. Phil pressed her on why did she fail 2 polygraph tests early in the investigation. The entire clip is on her blog, but she claimed that her hearing problem prevented her from proceeding the questions right.
How convenient.
As for the second one, this is what she said. Did you hear the question? I did, but it took me a minute to get to them.
So this time it was her mind.
Yeah.
Had to catch up.
One of the questions was Kyron in the truck with you? Well, this just fell right then and there because he was in the truck with me to the way to school, but not when we was leaving. So I couldn't get that one right. I mean, I can understand her that a little bit because, like, if they say, "Was Kyron in the truck with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, like he
I'd
was."
be like, when? If I'm being investigated, I want to make it crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes, he was with me on our way to school, but not on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
But polygraph tests are yes and no, so it can be a little hard to read.
Because they'll be like, "Give me a yes or no cool answer." You'd be like,
but
well,
sometimes there's more to yes or no.
like, I can't. I don't know what to say.
I'd be like, in the spelling bee, can you repeat the question?
Can you give me a definition of the word?
My ear didn't catch up. Hold on, my mind didn't catch it that time.
While this interview did allow Terry to give her side of the story to the murder to hire plot, according to Terry, police pressured the landscaper and basically said, "Help us out or we're going to deport your family."
Damn.
It seemed kind of like far-fetched, but one thing about the police, they can lie to you in the investigation room. Like, when you in the room, they can make up stories out this world to make you say, "Yes, I did it."
That's messed up.
One thing I say is, like, I would say lawyer. I'm the type of person, like, if I see it going sideways, but I feel like if you go to a police department, you should always bring a lawyer. Always.
Well, you should know your rights, and he probably didn't. But they have to detain him first, unless they call ICE, But
they always say, like, you can ask them, "Am I being detained?" They're like, "No, you're not, but we're just talking. Answer my question." Right then.
Am I free to go?
Am I free to go? If they say that, just walk off. They're like, "No," because to me, they seem like you a suspect.
Am I free to go? Okay. Open the door.
Bye. California police found her and arrested her for stealing a gun from her roommate. She was booked on July the 4th. She posted bail, but then was arrested again shortly before Christmas for driving a stolen vehicle. And then she was charged again, but the case was later dismissed. Terry remarried in 2018 and currently lives in California. She has not spoken publicly about her stepson disappearance since the Dr. Phil interview in 2016. As to this day, Terry has never been named a suspect officially by police, even though Kane and Desiree seem to believe like 100% that she did it. But I feel like during this story, like, I feel like telling this case, we also forgot the most important person, Kyron. Kyron Richard Horman has been missing from Portland, Oregon since June 4th, 2010. No suspect has been named in his disappearance. And this is the case of Kyron Horman.
Let's get into our theories.
Let's get into our theories. Who first, me or you? Because you got mad at me last time, so I just want to ask.
You.
So I feel like telling this case, you really don't think about Kyron a lot. It's only about Terry because that's the main suspect.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like sometimes when police and people just focus on one person, you don't see other people that could be a suspect.
Right.
Like, I like when we have cases or I hear cases that's like multiple suspect. I'm like, oh, okay. But I feel like everybody assumed it was a stepmom. I'm not saying it was her. I'm not saying it was her. But I feel like I wish there was more information after that people assume who it was. Because if the young boy saw him at the exit at 9 o'clock and the teacher saw him at 10, did a roll at 10, but he wasn't in his seat, I wonder what happened. But then something always tripped me out that if Kyron was there in class, right, where was his stuff? Because I'm thinking like, okay, she took him to class. He must drop his stuff like on his desk. And then...
Well, that's if he can get in. When I went to school, the teacher wouldn't open the door until class started. You had to wait outside. Or like in the hallway or in the cafeteria. There was designated waiting areas.
Not for us. I mean, like in the morning elementary school, like if you wanted breakfast, you could have breakfast, or you just could like go to the playground or go like in the room. But the doors could have been open because it was like a science fair that day. So they probably just left the doors open just in case the kid want to drop something off. But I feel like if the little boy did see Kyron that day going to the south entrance, like I wonder why. I don't know. Because to me, if she really was gonna like hurt him that day, why did she take him to school? Probably get an alibi to say he was there.
Perhaps.
That's another thing. But one thing was that like he went to the science fair, right? And she took him to class. But the teacher didn't mark him absent, like didn't do roll call until 10. I don't know if this case is hard because it's like you only get one suspect. Like I went on Reddit, like when I do cases, I go on Reddit. And a lot of people have different stories. People believe that it wasn't her. People said that it was like a red truck that might have been there. He probably went to somebody else. I just feel like, to me, I feel like she really did drop him off and like, bye. I feel like she was going to hang out with her friend. She didn't really care. She was like, oh, I took him to school. I did my job. Let me go hang out with my friend. Because if she would cheat on her husband, she'd probably go to her side piece house after the science fair. We don't know.
Yeah, there's just too many red flags for me. Yes, she's the only suspect, and I believe it's because of all her history.
Mm-hmm.
She started off with a DUI.
Yeah, in 2005.
A DUI. And then she tried to hire her landscaper
Mm-hmm.
to assassinate her husband.
But I mean, we can say that's allegedly because we never know for facts. Because the landscaper said, oh, she tried. But when they were trying to like see if she really did, she didn't fall for the bait to me, you know?
But then they forced the landscaper to confess.
Well, the landscaper just came out of nowhere and said it. That's the only thing. It's like, it's so many like holes in this story because you're trying to picture it together, but it's like the family believed that she did it.
Right. And then she was the only one that wasn't cooperating. She did something that is unknown, but for her husband to file for divorce, take their kid, and file a restraining order, there's something that happened.
Because he went missing on June the 4th. He filed for everything on like June the 26th.
He had some cold hard evidence because he got full custody. A lot of the times the moms will get favored rather than the dads. I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, that's kind of how it's been. So he had some cold hard evidence to prove that she was unfit as a mother. To me, it's just like she had and then she had an affair.
But I mean, he had an affair too. As my grandma would say, it's how you get them, it's how you lose them.
Shout out to grandma.
Shout out grandmama. That's the crazy thing because I'm like, he can't get mad at her for having an affair because he had an affair on his first wife. So it's like, why are you mad? You can't be mad because she did the same thing. We don't know if he was faithful. We don't know.
And then like even thinking about when she was getting interviewed by Dr. Phil. Oh, I'm not good at hearing from a certain ear. Or
check out that episode. Like if y'all want to like watch it, just check it out. I really did. I watched the clips. I'm not a fan of Dr. Phil. Sorry.
And then, I had to wait for my mind to catch up. To me, it's just like you're stalling. But then why would you go and get interviewed? You're trying to clear your name, but at the end of the day, people are going to try and call you out.
No, because one man that actually murdered his son, I really forgot the name of the case. I remember the little boy. The dad had he was a very angry person. He killed the son. He went on Dr. Phil. Later, we found out that he did kill his son and we found the body. So it really don't matter. People will come on there
to get their
to basically spotlight and be a victim. Like, oh, poor me. I feel like that's what she was trying to go for. She was trying to do the poor me and trying to make people feel sorry for her. And I mean, to me, I can see, you know me guys, I like to picture the case. Like that's how I am, a visual person. I like to picture the case. So she dropped her stepson off in the room at 8:45. First thing as a parent, I'm going to look in the classroom. She had to notice it was no teachers there or no students because they all at the science fair.
Well, she was with her friend.
Well, her friend was in the car.
They probably were planning on getting brunch or doing something. I mean, if the friend missed quote unquote work for her, they had some plans. Now, the thing about it is, where did Kyron go? My theory is if Terry did do something to him, she's the one that lured him out. Like, hey, He was seen at 9 walking out?
Yeah, and she dropped him off at 8:45.
Hey, in 15 minutes, I'll come back and I'll bring you some breakfast. Or, hey, meet me in the parking lot here in 15 minutes. I got a surprise for you. Something, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know me, I like to be nice a little bit. What if she did just like, hey, Kyron, like she really didn't drop him off at class? What if she was like, say, hey, go ahead, go to class, and she just walked out. And he went to class and he realized, hey, nobody's in class. Like he got nervous. And as a 7-year-old boy, he'd be like, oh, let me just walk around the school building looking at people, looking at stuff. And then what if somebody he knew? Because think about it, the school was open to the public. Everybody was like at the science fair. What if somebody he known or somebody he was close to say, hey, Karen, let's go here. Let's go, you know, because around the school was like wooded, very rural area. So that could be a possibility that he was lured out by somebody he know. What if she just like really didn't care, so just gonna take him to class? You had a lazy moment as a parent.
Yeah, but she failed the lie detector test. I don't know. I'm just not buying it. I feel like it was her. It's just her whole past. Like the person that she was. Like she just doesn't give me good vibes. Sometimes you just have to go with your gut feeling.
And also her friend. Like if her friend really saw like she did hurt that boy and you was in the car, that's kind of crazy too. That like you still friends with her? I'm not friends with you.
I couldn't be friends with somebody that is being investigated for hurting a child.
Right.
You know, I just feel like kids in general are the most innocent creatures and nobody should mess with them. Like, I feel like that's code. Like, even people that are in prisons, like, if they know that you hurt a child, like,
it's over.
It's over. So,
one thing is, what if she really didn't do anything to him? And that's why the friend was like around her, like, yeah, I know I was with you. But also, you should have asked her the questions then if you know that your friend is not guilty.
Exactly.
Because that would have helped her a lot.
They didn't cooperate. And I feel like it's probably because they had something to hide.
And also, if a friend did see her hurt the little boy and she knew of it, that's why she probably played fifth, because she like, they could come back at her sooner or later, be like, well, you lied on the stand, so we gotta charge you.
I don't know. I just feel like the husband has a lot of information, and I just wish that we knew the evidence that he had against her.
Well, probably he told his ex-wife what happened, and I feel like the ex-wife probably blamed him a little bit. I would blame you. Why would you bring this person around my child? You know?
Well, he thought he knew her.
She probably was, I don't know. Then she had a DUI. I'm like, okay, why are you drinking? Because she must have been drinking a lot.
She was an unfit mother, according to the government. They stripped her of her rights. So that's enough for me.
I don't know. I just feel like I need a little bit more information, or even suspect they had look into. Some cases I'm like, okay, I can see why you look into this person, and I can see why you look into Terry. No offense. I can see why. But I just wish that I had more evidence of other people, because when I'm looking into this case, it was mostly about Terry. You can find information about the dad and the bio mom, but Terry was like the main person, like sitting around this whole case. Not even a little boy. And I can see it's so many cases out there of step parents hurting their stepchildren. We all know that.
Right.
And that's the sad thing about it, that you have to be careful of who you bring into your child's life.
Right.
I don't know. It's like, I could see her. I could see people looking at her. I could see the police looking at her. But also trying to figure out who else could it be. My only suspect is her or a stranger danger. That's the only thing I can give you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I have on this case. So give us a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, follow us on all our social media platform, and we have a case suggestion. So if you have a case that you would love for us to do and hear our theories on,
please fill out the online form that will be linked below.
And we will get to it. It'll probably take us a couple weeks, but we will get to it because we already have a couple that we are working on. This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are signing out.